Today, members of Congress and state and local officials from Minnesota held a field hearing in St. Paul titled "Kidnapped and Disappeared: Trump's Deadly Assault on Minnesota." They heard from witness after witness who shared their stories of what living in Minnesota during this ICE surge has been like.
I was not running. I was just walking away because I did not want to talk to him. I knew that ICE agents had been targeting people that looked like me. I immediately started repeating over and over again, "I'm a citizen, I'm a citizen, I'm a citizen." But the agent did not stop to look at my ID. As second ICE agent entered the restaurant, they dragged me outside and put me into a headlock on the ground. I repeated, "I'm a citizen, I have an ID." The agent kept saying, "That don't matter, that don't matter."
That's just a taste of the flavor of the tenor of this hearing today. From witness after witness, the hearing also featured leaders from the community, like State Attorney General Keith Ellison and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. And St. Paul Mayor Coley Herr spoke directly to the members of Congress and to the public about the terror the Trump administration has brought upon her state. Here was how the mayor described the situation today.
We are ground zero for Trump's war in America, a war on our democracy, on our freedoms, on our rights as Americans. It is in our backyard today, and it is only a matter of time before it is in yours. We've received reports of federal law enforcement officers going door to door asking people where the Asian people live, right in our very own city. I myself have received advice to carry my passport with me because that they may try to target me based on what I look like as well. That is the America that we are living in right now, where people cannot access food, they cannot access health care, they cannot access their basic needs because of the terror, because our cities are under siege. We need your help, whatever it may be.
Joining me now is the woman you just heard speaking there, the mayor of St. Paul, Minnesota, Coley Herr. Thank you so much for being here. That has stuck with me since I watched it today, what you had to say in that hearing. And I'm so grateful you could join us tonight. I wanted to just start with the news we got tonight about the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota, a criminal investigation being launched into them. It feels so completely baseless on its face. I've just talked about this, but what do you make of it?
I mean, it's purely intimidation tactics, Jen. I mean, this is Trump further not getting his agenda met. And so then what does he do? He turns around and attacks individual people who are standing up against him.
No question about that. We've seen that over and over and over again. As a lot of legal experts pointed out, and I pointed this out too, but it's worth repeating, the crime of impeding federal agents requires physical force. And so their theory of the case seems to be that public objections to what ICE is doing amounts to some kind of illegal interference. And I wonder how that sits with you. I mean, given you've been speaking out, you spoke out incredibly powerfully today. How does that aspect sit with you?
You know, it's so interesting, his perception of what is happening here in ours. I mean, you know, we have been calling on peaceful protests. We have been working with our community groups like the Immigrant Defense Network, who's been teaching constitutional observer training, which means that in that training, you never interfere with ICE's operations. You use recording to protect the people who are being attacked. And so, you know, like we have been making sure that we are supporting each other as communities, but allowing ICE to move forward with their own operations. And so, you know, I am really disappointed at what we're seeing and how Trump is targeting us and continuing to target us.
Do you think about, you're a very public elected official now in a state that is being targeted by the federal government, as you said today. Do you think about what would happen if they target you? Do you worry about that?
I do. Actually, I think about the scenario of like what happens if somebody forcibly, takes you or restrains you. You know, I thought about what would I say to them? And clearly telling them that you're an American citizen doesn't matter, as you saw testimony from individuals who have been targeted, who have encountered ICE. So I do think about that scenario, but I also think about my own children. I have two adult children, young adult children who live with me, and I worry about that because they take public transportation. They are waiting at train stations and bus stops, and I don't know when they'll be approached either. So it's not just a fear for myself, but for my own family members and my children.
You took office, I think it's important for everybody watching to know, 2 weeks ago. So you've been there 2 weeks. And this administration has essentially been terrorizing your community for the totality of the time you've been in office. Help people out there watching right now. We've been trying to show as many videos as possible and tell the stories of what's happening on the ground, but you're there. What is happening in St. Paul right now?
You know, for as much as he's been trying to terrorize us, the community is sticking together. But it is not lost upon me that everywhere that I go, I see ICE vehicles. That as I'm working with our local immigrant businesses and I'm helping open and close doors, lock and unlock doors for customers to come in to ensure that it is customers and not ICE, that I'm seeing and constant, even down the blocks from the places that I'm supporting and helping out, ICE vehicles, people being detained, people being grabbed off the streets. And I'm witnessing these things myself. Just last Sunday when I was helping at one of our mercados here, one block down, ICE had an individual, and our protesters had to walk down there to ensure that they could see what was happening, and ICE finally let that individual go after they saw that there was a group of people starting to form. Like, this is an everyday occurrence, and we are constantly getting notification from our community members that they see ICE vehicles, that they saw somebody get taken. And this isn't just hearsay. They're sending us pictures, and they're sending us evidence so that we can actually look into it and send law enforcement over to have eyes on the situation. And so this is a complete overtake of our city, a siege of our city.
I'm sure you're getting, even in just 2 weeks, a lot of people calling and asking, what should they do? How should they engage with ICE officers? What do they do if somebody comes to their door? What are you telling people in your community to do in this moment? I know you're saying peacefully protest, but what else are you telling them to do?
We are telling people that they do have rights, and that to the best of their ability, we are sending out information to our residents if they are in their homes, that they do not have to open the doors. We are giving them procedures as to what they can request from ICE to see and how they can provide their documentation. But, you know, we are also letting people know where it is that, you know, they can go in order for them to have individuals who might be there to protect them, right? We know that there are certain locations that we have constitutional observers who are ready to support and to document. We are also informing people that if you are scared and you are worried, call 911. Our local law enforcement will show up. And so that is the best that we can do, is continue to provide the best information as possible and to keep each other safe. But that means that requires our communities to continue to show up for each other as well. And they have heard our call, and community is showing up.
Mayor Quiliher, I just have to emphasize for people, I know a lot of people who've been newly in office, they're not often given the plate you've been given, and you have a tremendous amount of strength, poise, grace, and St. Paul is incredibly lucky to have you. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Jen.